Let's just get down to business. Russell Crowe, good morning.
Morning, Ryan. How are you?
Well, let's start at the beginning and tell me, where are you?
I'm in one of my offices, actually.
Yes.
I'm in Woolloomooloo in Sydney. Um,
Yeah.
and I just remembered that everything is broadcast these days. So it's 10:20 at night. I could have worn something nicer, but I just happen to be wearing a t-shirt. It's like some part of me, the old-fashioned part of me, thought we were just talking on the phone.
Well, I'm sorry about that, but it's good.
Anyway, I'll give you a slight tour of the room
I'd love that.
because I know there's certain aspects of this room that will get you slightly excited because everywhere you look, it's just walls of books.
Oh, well, now you're speaking my language here. I love that. What there was a picture of you I saw behind before we started the interview, but that's been exited from the picture.
Well,
What was
I
that?
just realised that would look quite strange to your audience.
It's a portrait of yourself, Russell. I love it.
It's from the movie Poker Face.
Oh, I love that. And who did it?
But I just didn't want to give you the impression that I'm surrounded by portraits.
As if anyone would ever suspect that. It's good to see you, and you seem in great fella. Congratulations on Nuremberg. Let's talk about the movie because this is. I know how important this film was to you, and indeed is to you. Tell us a little bit about it, and we'll get into the reads shortly.
Well, this is it's a Jamie Vanderbilt movie. It has a very strong cast: Rami Malek, Michael Shannon, Colin Hanks, Richard E. Grant, Leo Woodall in an absolute movie star making turn. Young Newfoundlander actor called Mark O'Brien. Very, very strong cast. It was a wonderful script. It covers the period of time immediately after the Second World War when, driven by American ideals,
Yeah.
the Allies decided that the Nazi commanders that they had left had to face an international tribunal. And it was the first time that was ever done. Not something that was approached in the First World War, but the Americans had seen the damage, I believe, of the Treaty of Versailles, and thought that if that kind of reparations treaty was only going to lead to further aggression, what is a different way that we can put before the world where justice is seen to be served? So I think there were very high ideals behind it, but the movie covers the period of time of those trials and the main characters involved. Close to history, but not an exact replica. That's called a documentary.
Of course, and I love that you point that out. It drives me nuts when people say that's not what happened. You say if you want to find out what happened, read an authoritative document on it or watch a documentary. This is
Yeah.
a movie, and I agree with you on that one. So we can park all that conversation and talk about Hermann Göring. Now, I know that this was a big role, and you play it beautifully, if you can say such a word about such a character. What was it?
I used to unsettle people on a daily basis by walking into the courtroom set singing Herman the Happy Nazi.
And how did that go down?
Not good. Not great.
I would imagine because you are quite. I mean, if you rocked into any courtroom looking the way you do in the uniform, you're very broad build, very menacing eyes, and you've got a German accent going on. I mean, was that bizarre and eerie for you, or did you just go, no, it's another day at the office?
Well, that's why I kind of kept myself light about things, because I knew the subject that we were approaching, and I knew, I mean, in that situation, you're everybody in the room's enemy. And
Yeah.
there was a group of 22 actors playing those commanders and colonels and what have you.
Yeah.
And it was very important to me to explain to them that right from the beginning that even though we have to commit to the characters that we're playing,
Yeah.
we're just a group of actors. And so there was, some stuff because there were a few of them, there's a lot of Hungarian actors within that group, but there were German actors within that group, and they just wanted to be assured we're approaching things in the right way. I think,
Yeah.
because they've grown up with that cultural weight.
Yes. There was,
So yeah, I kept myself sort of as lighthearted as I could through it. But as you know, man, you're passionate about your job. Your job doesn't finish at 5 o'clock. It was quite a painful period. But that pain is part of what you accept when you do my job.
yeah.
Some days you get to be the hero. Some days you're doing something else. So I did a lot of preparation beforehand, and I knew what I was aiming at. And from that point in time, it's actually, when you're walking into a room full of actors of that caliber, it's very exciting
Yeah,
when
I
you do
bet.
my,
Yeah,
you
I
know.
can imagine. I thought Richard E. Grant was particularly good as well in a John Slattery, brilliant too. Just these kind of smaller roles but big impact. There was a scene in it where they were showing scenes from the concentration camps, and I thought the faces of the actors, including yourself, the faces of the actors as they were watching it struck me as though I had almost a meta experience where it looked as though I was watching actors playing roles while actually as humans watching footage, and just the horror of it. It was very authentic looking, I have to
Well,
say.
that's one of the things that Jamie set up and gave us the opportunity to either see it beforehand so we knew what we were going to see,
Yeah.
or to not. And, different actors made different choice. And we are being shot in that scene while the footage is running.
Yes, that I was wondering because it looks like it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So mission accomplished in that sense. And I wanted to ask you another thing, which was there's kind of an interesting kind of row happening between two unlikely people in Brian Cox and Daniel Day-Lewis over method acting. And Brian Cox going, it's nonsense. And Daniel Day-Lewis going, let me get on with it. If it suits me, it suits me. Are you into it? Do you like it? Or do you think, no, I'm going to leave Goring on the set as much as I can? Or would you be into kind of continuing it on for the whole shoot?
Well, let me say firstly that in the entire universe
Yeah.
of celluloid performers, Daniel Day-Lewis is really the one and only guy that I look up to.
Yeah.
Everybody else I can appreciate and enjoy, but I think Daniel and I have had very different upbringings. I'm a working class boy, and crawled out of that primordial slime, and I feel that given I actually know where he went to school, he must have come from some substance, but that doesn't in any way limit my appreciation of his
Yeah.
excellence.
Yeah.
Brian is a very fine actor. I think the thing that's between the two ideals is the word indulgence. And you have to be very practical on a film set. There is a lot of things to do. The schedule is of immense priority, and it must be met.
Yeah.
There are things that you can do that bring yourself inside a character, but there's things you can't do as a person to interrupt any of that flow. So I do everything I need to do to get myself ready to play the character, but I work between action and cut. That's it. I'm available for all kinds of conversations, whatever. That does not mean that what I do is not immersive. It absolutely 100% is. But once you've gone through the history of film and you see where Brando is, and then you see how De Niro and Pacino take that ball up, and you get to where we are now, you must be able to work faster,
Yeah.
quicker. You must be able to get on that pace, stay with that pace, be completely complex and detailed with what you do, but there's no time to indulge yourself, mate.
Love it, love it, love it. Stay around, Russell Crowe. We've got a few more questions for you. We're talking about Nuremberg, your magnificent performance in this extraordinary film that got the longest standing ovation for an opening film in Toronto recently, and for good reason. Back in a minute. I'm going to put on my head now a gift you gave me once upon a time. Can you tell everybody what I'm wearing, please?
Well, actually, you've got a very special version of that. What Ryan is wearing, ladies and gentlemen, is a hat that symbolises the South Sydney Rugby League team, the South Sydney Rabbitohs, established in 1908. But Ryan's version of that hat, if you see on the side of that,
I
he
know, I
has the
saw it.
arms. because our current Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, is actually a life member of South Sydney Rabbitohs. And when he became Prime Minister, as a gift, I sent him 1,000 of these. And our Prime Minister used to give sprigs of wattle and, I don't know, macadamia nuts and an Australian flag as his diplomatic gift. But he currently gives the leaders of other world nations a South Sydney Rabbitohs cap.
And I now have one of those caps.
Yes.
Thanks to you. And as you can see, I wear it with great pride here when I'm going out for my little 5K run.
Because he's proving to be a very balanced and energetic Prime Minister who is working on everybody's behalf. There's a whole bunch of people that, want to stand up and complain from decision to decision, but you have to remember that it is a democracy that we live in, and not every decision is going to be exactly tailored to your taste.
Yeah.
But, the bottom line is he is fulfilling that job where an elected official should be working on behalf of his people, and he does understand that our society has to go at the pace of its slowest or its weakest, and he really is trying to bring about some balance. And on a world stage is creating great opportunities for Australia in terms of economics and everything. So look, it's always that thing. You can't please all the people all the time.
That is for sure.
We're very, very lucky in this current atmosphere and temperature around the world to have a man who has those ideals as his priorities.
Let me take a quick fire question. Joanne says, Russell, is there a role you were born to play for but haven't been offered yet? Good question.
Is it?
I think you
obviously don't understand the life of an actor.
No,
you don't just say, "Oh, I only want to be perceived in this way." Look, I know some people do that, but I don't covet roles. I keep myself open and fresh for what's coming to me because I want to explore fresh ground. I don't want to play the same thing over and over again. Some people sort of do that and they enjoy that, but that's not what, I like to play characters.
Yeah.
So, I could think about that and give you an answer, but it would only be something facile, and I could probably give you
We can't have facile on this show, Russell. You don't do facile. It's not your style. Mark says, the question is, Russell is one of the few big actors where I cannot make up my mind as to whether you make a really good baddie or a really good goodie. Because obviously he's been a goodie lots of times, but his performances on films like Unhinged are off the scale. What does he prefer and why?
I don't have a preference. I like to work in a great environment. I like to work with an open and creative director. I like to work with other actors whose skill thrills me. I don't care what the character is. The main thing is I like to work.
Yeah. And to be gainfully employed, which is a nice...
Mate, I'm 61,
wow.
And I'm busier now than I have ever been in my career, and that amazes me.
Why?
It's like, because it's like you're supposed to have a burn, and then life changes or whatever, or things slow down, and at the moment things are increasing in density and pace, and it's like, but I'm enjoying it because everything I'm doing, I'm, really connected to. So, I made 5 movies this year, Ryan, between December and August. That is such a pace. I've never done that before in my career, and it wasn't intentional. It's just with independent film, there's a lot of vagaries, and that's the way things worked out. But, I went from, obviously Hermann Göring in Nuremberg, but then there's a movie called Beast in Me where I play this ratty old former boxing trainer who's got a bad attitude to the world. Then I played an Albanian money launderer in Bear Country, and I've seen that movie, and it's funny. It's really fun, that film. Then I played a Russian scientist in $1 Billion Spy selling state secrets to the Americans. Then I went to Montreal to be a Harvard professor, instructing a young Ted Kaczynski in uniform. And then after that, I did a stint as a prison warden in a movie that was set in Oregon but shot in Munich, in a movie called The Wait with Ethan Hawke. So it's been a very busy and interesting year. And what I'm looking forward to doing is the Highlander reboot, with my very good man, Henry Cavill. We shall take on all comers shortly.
And do you know what strikes me, talking to you today and looking at you today? You look in really good form. You look really happy.
So I was 126 kilograms at the end of Nuremberg.
Yeah.
And I'd signed on to Nuremberg in 2019 while I was doing Roger Ailes. So, and I had an idea that I wanted to play Herman with that big physical presence that you discussed, but, also at the height of his sort of pomposity, because I know he lost weight through the trials, but that would make me kind of look handsome, Ryan, and I didn't want to give him that advantage. So I am now 100.9 kilos, so it's a very significant change, but that is all about the work that I have coming up, and I need to be physically capable in order to keep up with the young Mr. Cavill, because he's a very athletic chap.
Yeah, but you cut a mean figure on the tennis court, as we've discussed before, and you're not unintimidating when facing you from one baseline to another. In fact, it's terrifying. But you're a nice fella, but terrifying.
My pleasure, Ryan.
Last question from Adam. Does Russell think England have any real chance of beating Australia in the third rugby league test at Headingley and Leeds on Saturday?
Well, look, Australia in that particular sport have been dominant for a long, long time. But what I'm really appreciating with the English game, with Super League, and what I see is there's a different attitude in the professionalism, overtaking English rugby league now. And I think it's just a matter of time. If it's not going to be this year, it's going to be soon that there's going to be a sharper competitive edge, I believe, in English rugby league.
Sounds good to me. I'm going to say goodbye by putting on my Rabbitohs Prime Minister of Australia special edition baseball cap. Russell, I'm a great fan of yours. You're a brilliant fella. You're just a fine mind and good fun, and I wish you and Brittany and the whole family every happiness, and I really look forward to having a glass of something with you very soon.
Thanks very much, mate. And with your event coming up,
oh, yes,
I mean, it's a brave and bold decision.
Thank you.
But, I love how I can see it shining from your heart through your eyes, mate. That's great.
It's a true story. Yeah, you're talking about my upcoming wedding. I appreciate it, Russell. You're a gentleman. Appreciate it. Mind yourself. See you soon.
Good on you, mate. Bye-bye.